Welcome to That Mindful Magic podcast. I'm your host, Shelby Lee. And if you're a business owner who wants to grow your business and your mindset, this is the podcast you've been waiting for. Inside That Mindful Magic, we'll discuss powerful habits to change your life and your business from the inside out. Hi, everyone, and welcome to That Mindful Magic. I am so excited to be here. I can't tell you guys how much has gone into this movement that I am creating, but I can tell you that I have never felt more lit on fire by starting a business journey. I don't even know what to call it because it feels so much bigger than just saying a business. And I think that's because a lot of the times when we start new businesses, we have to classify ourselves as like a small business, but I already see the potential here and what I'm trying to create. And so it just feels really monumental and huge to me already, to be honest. But I want to really talk to you guys today about what that mindful magic is. I am launching basically a new community October 1st called that Mindful Magic Movement. And I just wanted to start a podcast to really tell you guys some practices I've used in my life to get where I am today. But I also wanted to start this podcast so that people can become more aware of what this is exactly that I'm creating. And it's been a really long time coming. So, I have pulled up some stuff on my phone because I want to make sure that I accurately depict everything that's happened in my life to bring me to this moment, to this time, because I do want you guys to kind of have like a timeline. And I'm a little bit making this podcast episode for myself as well. And I don't have a ton of subscribers right now. I think we're a little over 1,000 on my Shelby Lee Bellin channel, but this podcast is going to be called That Mindful Magic. And I just wanted to give you guys really like the rundown of like where I'm headed, where I've been, how I got here, because I think it's really important for us to build this relationship and really start at the very beginning. And I really want this to look back on someday because my goal really genuinely is to grow this podcast to a level beyond my wildest dreams. And, it's one thing to always say, this or better. So I want to build this to a really big level, but it might even be better or bigger than that. I don't know. So I just want to give like an accurate depiction of who I am, where I've come from, what I've done with my business and life. And then from there, this is like the great launching pad of that mindful magic movement for me, which, okay, so let's start at the beginning. So, first and foremost, I just want to say I do have, I don't like don't even know where to start, but I essentially started my business back in 2021, but prior to that, I am from New Hampshire. I am married. I have a daughter. I have a son on the way. I am actually 3 weeks away right now while I'm recording this to giving birth to my second child. And my husband and I have been together for a very long time. We both grew up in New Hampshire, and we both have very entrepreneurial, and gosh, that word always gets me, but we have like this spirit of just being business owners. Okay. It's something we always knew we wanted to do. It was never a question for us of like whether or not we own our own businesses. It was like, this is going to happen for us. And that's always been spoken like into existence, I guess, for us. So, that I just want to preface with. Now, what I've been able to create and what my husband has been able to create have both been incredible businesses, and it happened very quickly for us. I'm going to be totally honest and transparent. I think it happened quicker for either of us to even recognize what was happening. And then while we were making our dreams come true, it was like, oh my gosh, like you have to kind of stop and look around and be like, holy shit, we've done so much in just the past few years. And so I want to dive through that. But the reason I'm here today is because, and this is why I wanted to pull up my phone for you guys. So just a few years ago, you guys, I was laying in a bathtub, actually in this house that I'm in right now. By the way, we just purchased our like dream home. But just a couple of years ago, I was laying in a bath. It was September of 2023, which is funny, because right now it's 2 years later, 2025. But I had made this post about this specific podcast, about this movement, everything, September 3rd. Oh no, September 12th, I guess. So I'm just trying to like make sure I give like all of the dates accurately because I really, really, really want to be able to know and look back on this and have you guys look back on it as well. So this was September 5th, 2023, and this is the note that I wrote myself. I started that mindful magic movement because at 22, I learned about manifestation and getting our dreams. I wanted to make $1 million by the age of 30, and I'm 29, and this year my husband and I have made over $500,000. Yes, of course, we have expenses. That is our gross revenue, but I am determined to make $1 million in the next 10 months. Watch me. And so at the bottom of it, there's this cute little note, which I do want to just say because I think it's important. Know your worth, add tax, gratuity, service fees, and a penny for good luck. I wrote to myself. So 2 years ago, okay, that happened. Now, this is where I'm like trying to make sure I give like very, very accurate information because it matters a lot to me later. So I launched digital products, you guys, right before I wrote that, okay? And I had only sold like a very small, small handful of digital products. But I seriously, you guys, since launching my digital products, have made well over $1.2 million solely selling digital products. And that's not even my other businesses, which I'm going to talk about. But I just want to show you guys that that is why I'm here. Like, this is why right now I am recording this podcast. This is why this movement is coming. It's because I knew prior to me doing all of this successfully that I was going to create this movement, which is just so crazy and wild to me, but that's where we're at. So let's back up. Let's talk about how I got here. So at the end of 2021, I was working for a nonprofit literacy foundation called Believe in Books. This was a literacy foundation in my hometown, and I was the grant writer, the sales director. But if anyone has worked at a nonprofit before, you know you wear many hats. So here I am, I'm working as a sales director, doing some stuff on the side, writing grants for the organization, making a ton of money for the organization, to be quite frank. I was getting big contracts with hotels. I was getting a ton of donors from just like local community businesses. And I just really had this sales drive behind me. And every time I like set a goal for myself, like I would hit or exceed that goal. So if I was like, okay, I want to get this many sponsors and I want them to, give us this much money, then I would do it. And I remember getting like huge partnerships where like people were giving us like $5,000 just to like be a part of certain fundraisers. And then we had this huge event where I would sell large, large packages of tickets and things. And I just loved it. Like it was fun. It was really awesome because sales had kind of never been really like something I thought I would get into. I do want to just let you guys know I do have a degree in early childhood education of all things, and I did try to teach for a couple of years prior to working at this nonprofit organization, and it was just not for me. But working at this nonprofit was fun. I had incredible staff, like incredible people that worked with me, like absolutely amazing employees, coworkers, etc. And so we just had a lot of fun and I was able to realize that I could sell. Like that was really what I got from this position, okay? And so here I am, I'm selling a ton of packages. I'm feeling really good about it. I am only making like a very abysmal salary. I remember I took that job and I was making, I think it was like $13 an hour. So it was not the best, highest paying job, obviously. And so when 5 years into that job, I was asked by our director, our executive director, he was like, Shelby, like, we're gonna turn this amphitheater that he had just built and spent tons of money on. He was like, we're gonna turn this into a wedding venue. Like, I want you to start booking weddings. I want you guys to bartend these events. And mind you, you guys, I had absolutely no freaking experience bartending. Okay. So here I am. I am about to, book all of these weddings. I wasn't worried about booking the weddings because I had such a sales background that it was like, oh yeah, like I can take people on tours. I can sell them into this idea of their wedding here. And by the way, the venue is absolutely gorgeous. So it was not like an issue to get people to want to book their events there. That was not going to be a problem for me. What was going to be a problem and kind of a stumbling block, and I remember looking at some of my coworkers like, girls, like, we are not bartenders. Like, what are we doing? What are we getting ourselves into? Like, how are we going to know how to do any of this? And it was really, really funny. So, we start bartending these events. Okay. I ended up booking like quite a few weddings our first year in business. And we're bartending these weddings. We're still working the 9 to 5 portion of the job, but then we're also, picking up some shifts on the weekend. And I started realizing that I could make more in one night bartending than I could all freaking week working at this 9 to 5. And I was like, well, this just doesn't make sense, right? So, that happened. Now, the next thing that happened at the tail end of that year, and mind you, this was 2021, I started reading this book called Badass Habits. And that's by Jen Sincero. And let me tell you, that book, I really have to give so much credit as to why I am where I am today, why I've made the revenue I've made today, all of it, because that book changed my life. I honestly could cry about it because it changed my life so drastically. So, let me tell you a little bit about what happened here. I was kind of on the fence of like quitting my job when I started reading that book, okay? And then I started reading it, and the whole premise of the book is to find something to do for 21 days that you're going to build as a habit because they say once you do something for 21 days, it's a habit. So I decided I was going to walk outside every single day. Mind you, I know that doesn't sound crazy, but it was the middle of winter when I decided to do this. So it was like end of November, beginning of December when I was like, yeah, let's, walk outside every day. And my dog, not even like 2 days into reading and building this habit, gets hit by a car, by a moving car. And I have like a full like meltdown basically about that. Obviously, she ended up being fine, but I had to spend thousands of dollars. I had to put it all on a credit card. It was like a $7,000 surgery for my dog. And my dog was the reason I was like walking outside every single day, like even though it was freezing cold, because my dog is like a winter dog. Like she loves being in the cold. Like it's just her vibe, it's her thing. And so I was like, I'm like really committing to us taking long walks every single day. And she gets hit by a car. And I'm like, what? And I think this right here is the reason why it's so pivotal reading this book for me because I had so many excuses. I had so many reasons to not see that through, right? Walking outside every day. My dog had just gotten hit by a car, but I didn't let that change the promise I had made to myself. And I think that is probably one of the biggest pillars in my life and my success story is that when I make promises to myself, I do not give up and I do not break them. And so I made that promise to myself. So every single day, you guys, you bet your ass, I was outside in the freezing cold with my dog. Mind you, I had to hold up. She had cracked her pelvis. So they had to do surgery to like fix it. And she has like metal basically like in her pelvis now. They had to basically make it so that she couldn't walk on a leg for several, I don't even remember how long, but it was like several weeks. And so I had to hold her leg up with a scarf and keep her leg stabilized while we walked outside every single day. And I did it. And I committed to it and I did it. And one huge message in that book is the ability to create mantras for ourselves. Okay, so at this time, I'm making no money, working at a job, but I've committed to walking outside every single day and reading this book and really living this book. Okay. Now, this book, you guys, she literally said, she was like, you need to essentially, while reading this book, make sure that you are also developing other areas of your mindset. So, like, one thing she focused on, and this was like a mantra from her book that I had just read previously, too, was like, money flows to me easily and freely. And so I started doing that. I started doing this habit thing. I started really changing my mindset And I started saying money flows to me easily and freely every single day over and over in my head, even though I was making no money at my job, really, except for like the times that we would bartend events. And so I just start saying this to myself over and over again, over and over again, and I start like developing like this mindset of okay, like money can flow to me easily and freely. Money can flow to me easily and freely. And so I literally decided, I was driving around one day with my coworker and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own business. Like, I'm going to start bartending events. I'm going to start planning my own events and like booking my own events to plan like outside of this company. And so I fucking did it. I literally launched a business right around the same time of all of this going on with me reading the book, my dog being injured. I have a 1 year old at home, like running around, like craziness. Okay. So much going on. And I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to call it Bellin Events LLC. That's my husband and my last name. We ended up starting his company at the same time, you guys, which was so insane. So we also own an auto shop called Bellin Service Center. And then we started this Bellin Events company. Okay. So, and he was really more at like the service center, obviously, and I was starting this event company all at once. And it was like really kind of insane. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, this is not wise for us to be doing so much with a 1 year old, with a dog that's injured. Like, it was just a lot. Okay. And so we both quit our jobs. And in 2022, we like make a commitment to just grow our businesses really quickly, fast. We had to do it. He was really fortunate because the business that we actually opened up for him was already well established, which was really nice. So he was able to kind of just go right in, start his business at a garage that was already like profitable and open. So that was like really fortunate for us. But that fell into our freaking laps, okay? And so here we are. We are now doing all of this stuff. I'm starting my own business and I start scaling that event business so much bigger than I even realized because I was like, I want to book $100,000 worth of events, like my first year in business. Like I'm doing it. And I remember putting that goal like on paper. And because I had such a good sales background previously, I was like so committed to this being, what I did. I was like, I am doing this. I am all in. I am going to hit this revenue goal of mine. And I did it. And it was like insane. It took so much willpower, it took so much learning, and it took so much grit, honestly, because there were times that, I probably could have stayed really small in my business. And I think this happens to us a lot. But my mindset was so built up because I had kept telling myself that money like came to me easily and freely that I kind of almost became a person that was open and ready for that to happen, if that makes sense. And so it felt absolutely incredible to book $100,000 worth of events my first year in business. Then we did it again and then we did it again. Like, and now it's like crazy to me because I've been able to book so many events with my mobile bartending business. And I did pivot, just so you guys know. So I did start it originally as like a planning and bartending business. And I did not love the planning aspect. I love all of the couples. And I do want to shout them out. Like all the couples that I worked with to plan their entire weddings, absolutely incredible. So much fun. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I gave it up my second year. I was like, this is not, I'm sorry, no. But solely booking events just to bartend, I had hit six figures. So it was just like, okay, this is the move. So at the end of, and once again, let me try to make sure my dates are correct here. But at the end of 2023, so when I had written that whole thing about this movement, right, that I'm talking about today, I had essentially had a lot of people. I had a viral video on TikTok, okay, about how much money I had made with my mobile bar company in the past year. So this was 1 year after I had like basically opened my doors, right? And I had booked six figures worth of events. And so many people reached out saying, Shelby, oh my gosh, like I want to start my own mobile bartending business. Can you please help me? And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, like there's no reason I can't. And by by the way, it's like I remember it so distinctly because I was at my husband's work at his messy garage, love him, but messy garage. And I'm sitting there and I'm getting like this video is just blowing up on TikTok. And I'm like, oh my God, like so many people want like help to start this business. Like, what if I just created like this little guide and I like just sold it for like $20? Because by the way, you guys, I want to just preface this with the reason you want to sell information is because a lot of the times when you just give information away, people don't do anything with it. And so I was like, I'm just going to sell this guide for like, I think it was like 19.95, and it was going to be all the steps to start your mobile bar. It was going to talk about how, to get your LLC, get your like business licensing all set up, how to get insurance, like all of those things I had to do because obviously starting a business is tricky if you don't know. So I decided to put this guide together and I was like, okay, I'm going to start helping people with a mobile bar. I'm going to start posting about it, answering questions, doing all those things on top of running my mobile bar business. And so in 2023, that was my plan at the end of the year, right? So, and this is right around the time, you guys, I wrote that letter to myself that this movement was going to happen, okay? It's almost like I had to prove to myself that I was like capable of building such a long successful history of business, right? So I launched those digital products, really just that digital product, I should say. And I didn't really sell many of them at first, okay? So like to kind of give you an idea, I actually could even pull up analytics right here because I am right in front of my computer, but to give you an idea, essentially I had sold I think like a small little handful of them the first year. So it was September 2023 when I first launched it. And that month, I think I made, and I'm pulling it up, $1,000. Okay, so I made $1,000 selling this like $20 guide the first month. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, that's an extra $1,000. By the way, an extra $1,000 is an extra $1,000, okay? Because like that was almost my mortgage back then. So that being said, in October, I found people online like coaching you how to sell digital products. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to like try to do that as well. And like, let's see how that, like, where that takes us. And so in October, I made just under $10,000, which that is huge. Okay. That is a big amount of money to make just selling digital products. You guys, like $10,000 a month. I think it was like $9,600. Okay. And I was like, this is insane. Like, this could replace everything I've done. But I loved bartending. I loved going to events. There was no way I was giving that up. Okay. So I just stayed the course and I continuously have sold digital products on how to start, on how to scale a mobile bartending business. And I cannot tell you the amazing. And by the way, if you are one of like the VIPs I've worked with one on one or anything like that, or you've used my resources to start your mobile bar, I just want to tell you guys right now I have gotten so much from all of you the same way that I know you guys have gotten a lot of information and help and guidance from me to start your mobile bar. I cannot tell you guys the relationships I have built, the people I genuinely consider friends now because I helped them start their own mobile bartending business, the thousands of dollars I've seen people make in just like 2 months or 3 months, like 20,000, $30,000 in just a couple of months of starting this business from zero, okay, literally zero, just because they found me and they decided to go all in on their dreams. I cannot tell you how incredible that has been. It has been life changing. It has been the most beautiful thing. And I never, ever, ever expected my business to go in that route. I really just was like, I'm going to book events, I'm going to hire staff, I'm going to scale this business. And I did that. But then on top of that, to be able to add that level of coaching and the people I've worked with one on one and the people I have worked with, I've had retreats. I've had people come and meet me in person to like learn how to start this business. I've had so much momentum and beauty. And I cannot thank you guys enough for trusting me to help you start your business, but then also teaching me so much about myself and my own business and all of that. So that's been absolutely incredible. Okay. And so this has really been a big wealth generator for me, right? So I went from making, 10K a month with my mobile bartending business on average, all the way up to making, I am not even kidding you guys, this January. I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud, but like this is why I'm here creating this movement because I want to show other people what's possible because I think a lot of the times we think small In January of this year, 2025, and I'm going to pull up the exact numbers because I really want to be as accurate as possible, which is, I'm so happy I'm in front of my computer talking to you guys. But in January of 2025, I had the biggest month I've ever had with my coaching business. And I made, and I'm going to pull $110,541 in one freaking month. Mind you, that is not my bar sales. That is solely just helping people, coaching people, selling digital products for mobile bartending. And so to be transparent and open with you guys about this has been something I've really wanted to do for a long time with my audience because I had this vision in my head that I was going to grow a mobile bartending business to a very successful level, which I did. And then I, out of nowhere, started coaching people. And I think it's really important to note that you never know how big your business can get. But, and this is why we're here, if you can expand your mindset beyond the level of where you are right now, you can change your entire life. And so that is why that mindful magic movement has been created because I have now proven to myself that I know how to make money. I know how to be successful. I know how to help others do that. And now I want a movement to show you guys how it wasn't just the strategies and systems that got me to this level of success in both my coaching and my mobile bar bookings. It was my mindset. It was me a few years ago when my dog had gotten hit by a car and I'm reading a book about habit building, that I did not break that promise to myself and that I kept really, really clear on my mission and my mindset of like money flows to me easily and freely, and I'm gonna have everything that I want out of this life, and I'm just gonna keep going and going and going, and never, ever, ever backing down from what I want because everything that we want is available to us. I have done so much mindset work and I have really poured my heart, soul, all of my energy into it. People that come and work for my business, by the way, for my mobile bartending business, every time someone comes and works for my business, like full time or in my office, the one thing I have them do when they first start working for me is write a gratitude list every single day, 10 things they are grateful for, because it is so important for me to show other people how their mindset can totally change their life. And I cannot tell you, you guys, one of my full-time employees, Katie, she's really my only full-time employee. I have another employee as well that works in the office with us, but she's not quite full-time yet. Yeah, by the way, you guys, I've done all of this and I have one full-time employee, which is insane to me. Like $1 million company and I literally have one employee. But her mindset, watching her develop her mindset has been really crazy for me. We had worked together at my previous job and she was not like a sales girl. Like that's not like what her role was or anything, but I kid you not, she has done and closed so many events for my mobile bar company. And I know some of that has to do with the mindset changes that she's had or made during the process of working together. And so for me to launch that mindful magic movement and to show you guys exactly essentially what I am creating inside of here, it feels surreal to me, and it's been a long time coming. And I am so, so, so freaking excited for what's about to come. Launching October 1st, you guys, we have that Mindful Magic movement. And right now, I will link this in the show notes, but you can join our wait list to basically get on this so that you're ready to go. This is going to be a monthly membership. And I'm so excited because not only am I going to show you guys like some daily practices that I do every single day that I encourage business owners to do to get more clear with their goals and align with what they already have in order to grow upon that, but I'm also going to be offering a ton of really helpful meetings weekly. We're going to be doing power hours so that you guys are actually able to see, like what needs to be worked on in your business and then have that time to do it. I think so many people we spend a lot of time like wasted, I think, sometimes trying to get like clear on what we need. So, this is something that I've created that's for me, for you, for us. So, power hours are going to be weekly, held by my staff. And we're also going to be doing some coffee and conversation weekly as well, where I'm able to answer your guys' questions about scaling and growing your big businesses. But this is for anyone. This movement is not just for mobile bartenders. This movement is not just for people in the event industry. This is for anybody to see how daily practices of just spending less than an hour, honestly, on your mindset a day, and then also how you can really start working towards your goals and becoming the version of yourself that you want to be, is really important and beautiful. And I'm so happy I'm here and able to create this because I feel so fucking lit on fire about this, you guys. You have no idea. It's like in my soul, in my being, I have learned so much from these practices, and I cannot wait to show you guys and share them with you all because it's going to be insane. So, if you listen to this whole thing, by the way, thank you guys so much. That was episode 1, and we are going to really dive into some more mindset stuff, mindful practices, business stuff, all of that on this podcast. So please make sure you subscribe and let's see where this goes and where this takes us. Thank you guys so, so much once again for being here. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of That Mindful Magic. As always, be sure to subscribe and follow me at Shelby Lee Bellin on Instagram and TikTok. See you next week. Bye.